Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Joel and Ryan on UMBowl.
I made a gif of Chris playing silent type. He gets up out of and this comes down. It's pretty cool. Little piece of film there for him.
Nice.
But the silent type, I guess, why don't we use that? I've heard that the silent type came out of UMBowl at some point, or Stu. There's Raw.
Well, it was it was definitely an improvisational thing. It's funny because one of the memories I have of this, the first thing is that we did it a half step higher, and then when we decided to finally play it live, we moved it down a half step, and we poked fun at Brennan for that endlessly. We're like, oh, already starting that, huh? Starting to move songs down. Okay, see how it is. I've tried to sing it though. It is a very, very high song to sing. But the versions that we did originally were in the key of D, and I remember we did it a few times out of the song Robot World. And I had kind of a completely different piano thing going on that I thought was cool and haunting and spooky. And I was like, oh man, can we use this for like one of the verses? And Brennan said something effective, like, he's like, no, I kind of hear that as more like soap opera music. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, cutting room floor it is.
These are the days of our lives.
These are the days.
Yeah, as the record spins.
Yeah.
But alluding to UMBowl, so Brendan, like I said, he writes he has a large back catalog of songs, and those were lyrics that had not been put to a song yet. And I think begrudgingly he doesn't like to, but I'll often put him on the spot and be like, hey man, we have a riff going here. It'd be great if you would sing something. And then you could see him be like, God damn it, Stasik, and then have this look and be like going through his Rolodex of ideas.
Catalog.
Yeah, and that one kept coming back. We used to call it the cigarette song, and I think it may have debuted or had a part of UMBowl, but finally he honed it in at home and came up with the bed that would be the foundation for the song. But that happens a lot. A lot of improv that occurs at UMBowl will be used as Legos or for riffs or parts of songs. And a lot of stuff that happens up the year leading up to UMBowl gets voted in by the fans and arranged by us to put into a song or use during I don't even call it a performance. It's more of an experience because it's 4 sets of music. It's a lot of information for us and for anyone in attendance. So are we familiar with what UMBowl is? Do we need to do just a little bit of...
Probably need it from the beginning. What was the original seed that created the first one?
Well, it's definitely changed over the years, which is also a little bit interesting. But I think the original one was kind of this idea that we could do an event that had fan interaction with it, where we would also maybe go back and mine some of the Umphrey's originals that have been left behind on the wayside, right? And bring those back for, one night, or in some cases, maybe resurrect them. And now they're in the rotation. Muff 2 The Revenge, for example, right? I feel like we play that more, probably because we played it in an UMBowl back in the day, right? But yeah, I think the main thing was that we wanted to have something where the fans were actively contributing, whether, typically we would make it into, UMBowl is called that because we had 4 quarters originally. So it's supposed to be like an Umphrey Super Bowl. 2 of the quarters, fans voted for stuff in advance. 2 of the quarters were live things where fans are texting things in and there's like live voting happening about what's going to happen next. So it's kind of a mix of those 2 things, but that was the general concept. And then the idea was, and we've probably done maybe like 9 or 10 different ideas for the quarters. So it's not the same each year about what we do to fill the time. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, the main like Joel pretty much nailed it on the head here, but the fan interaction was a big part. We wanted people to come and use technology to feel that they were guiding us or leading us into temptation, or however you want to put it. So we had a big screen behind us, and there would be a choose your own adventure. There'd be A, B, and C, and one would be like you're in a dance club in Berlin at 3 a.m. The other would be like you're in Jamaica at sunrise, and the last would be like play puppet string. And then while we're jamming, we'd watch the screen as the votes would come in until there was a clear winner. And then all of a sudden, now we're in Berlin at 3 a.m. and we have to improvise what that's going to sound like. So we'll communicate and listen and play that, and this will go on. So we were trying to figure out how we had the technology for fans to be texting and voting and leading us and just really feel like they're a part of that experience. Another aside, back in the day, we also used to spend a ton of time, I'm talking hundreds of hours of making videos, whether they were parody movies or using the ESPN guys, or having a theme and, showing off some of us who have acting chops and some of us who don't. I won't specifically, allude to anyone specifically here, but that was a lot of fun too. So these UMBowls really, if you look behind the scenes, took a ton of work from the management, from the crew, from everybody, the band, just everyone involved. So we really felt like we were accomplishing something when people came to this experience.
Yeah, massive amount of logistics for sure to get those. Actually, that was going to be my question: is pro tips. Jam band X comes to you guys, say, hey, we want to do something that involves, a ton of live fan participation. Like, what would you say? What kind of advice would you give to people who would want to do something like that?
I would say don't do it. Umphrey's McGee is pretty much the only band who can pull this off. Like,
my serious advice would be like, make sure you test it before you do it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sweat going on in the early years when we couldn't, a lot of Wi-Fi crashing, a lot of power outage, a lot of things were going on in classic Umphrey's form in the early days where you have these great ideas, but making them happen, sometimes the computer magic isn't there. So a lot of testing before.
Yeah, that's good advice. The other thing, most of the stuff that we've tried has worked, but there was one time where we tried to involve fans in voting in advance, and we gave them like 2 songs to choose from the encore. And we basically found out that people didn't want that. They don't want to know it's going to be one of these 2 things. They want to feel like everything's on the table, up until that moment. So sometimes technology can be your friend, and sometimes you're like, oh, okay, well, back to the drawing board with that. But I think one of the other things is figure out whatever it is, something that is special about, your band or your art that can be unique, And so for us, I think the most unique quarter that we've come up with is this another, much like our band name, horribly named idea called Raw Stewage. And this is referring to the Jimmy Stewart concept of the Jimmy Stewart Ballroom was where we first did this like late night big improvisational thing. So we've kind of used that as our lingo just to, explain that part. But one of our friends, Sid Schwartz, I think this was originally his idea, and it's a brilliant idea, was to go back, and we have, some fans and people that are close to the band kind of helping us find these little segments, but to pick out, and it can be anything from like a 30-second little snippet to maybe like a full 3 or 4 minute thing that is more developed. But having maybe 25 or 30 different little snippets for ticket holders to vote on what their favorites are. And so, months and months in advance of UMBowl, we'll have the fans vote on these little snippets to get their favorite ones. Well, then what we would do is try to take like the 10 highest voted ones and kind of what Ryan and I were talking about earlier, turn those into compositions and combine ideas and figure out which things can work together. And so we've ended up writing a bunch of songs like this. But the concept to me is really cool because you're essentially turning improvisation on its head and turning improvisation into composition. And the other fun thing about this is that you kind of already have the litmus test that's happened. So you've asked your fans, which ones of these do you like? Oh, you like this? Okay, cool. We'll make a song out of this. So as long as we don't blow it and screw up, which we can definitely do too. But as long as we don't blow it, it's like you're writing a song that the fans are going to like. So it was a cool way to kind of take something that was very specific to Umphrey's, like other bands might not have all of these hours of documented improvisational moments. So the idea was also, I should say about this, when we're trying to come up with these ideas, everybody's mining our improv for things that sound like parts, where everybody has a little bit of a defined thing that they're doing. It's not just this, oh, it was this awesome wailing guitar solo. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for like chord progressions and interesting little melodic ideas that happen in an improvisational setting that, now we treat as composition.
One other thing that happened from the UMBowl runs and experience that we still carry on to regular shows that I wish I could do when I go see concerts is our headphones and snow cones concept, where you can rent a monitor and get patched into the board and listen to headphones. And the reason I love this and why sometimes I like going to shows alone is much like a movie. I don't want someone talking the whole time. I want to watch the movie. When I go see a concert for a band that never comes to my town and I want to see, or there's 6 people up there and it's hard to hear, I don't want the guy with IPA breath yapping in my ear. So you put these headphones on and you're like, wow, I can hear the congas, I can hear the vocals, I can hear the bass. I can go to the bathroom and still hear the band when I'm doing it. So this is something that I'm really proud of that we integrate. There's a limited amount, but there are so many times when I've gone to see concerts and I was like, man, I would love to have a cold beer and some headphones on and just really be enjoying this concert without these yahoos over here just screaming to each other the whole time. So I'm proud of us for incorporating that. I'm not sure how many other bands actually do that. I think it started at an UMBowl and we just started carrying it on there without. We bought a bunch of headphones and monitors. And if you're listening to this now and you want to come to an Umphrey show and you don't want that big Wookiee yapping in your mouth with his IPA breath, yapping in your ear, then get those headphones and snow cones and, just tell them to shush and get out of there.
Let me just get this right. You're right now, you have a poll going for next UMBowl?
Okay, so we had to reschedule it. And one of I probably shouldn't give this away yet because I think we're going to kind of reimagine what one of the quarters was. We had something that was a little more Halloween specific that I think we might open up and to make it a little more general, but it's going to be a new quarter that we haven't done before. And the voting for that, we'll probably pick that up, I'm guessing, once we get to like the end of January, early February, but it's coming up again soon. So it's a bad time to launch back into that.
Who decides what the pieces are? The whole band vote on it before they go out for the public to vote?
Yeah, exactly. It's something that is a long ongoing conversation about, how things are going to fit. And I guess the other important thing to mention now is we've now split it into a 2-day event. And so instead of having 4 quarters, there's 3 sets each night. So it's a total of 6 sets. And the last time we did it, the last 2 sets are the band gets to pick. So we do still officially the 4 quarters of UMBowl, and then there's like a bonus set where just anything can happen.
I love that. This is one data point, but I will put in a vote for special teams. That's my favorite thing that you all have done. I was at UMBowl 2.
Very cool.
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that a lot. I forgot that we even did that, so it had to be a very long time ago.
Yeah, it was one of the first 2 or 3. I can't remember, but really, really super creative for all sides, to kind of get into that.
Yeah. Thanks, you,
Amanda.
Yeah.
UMBowl is going to be in Boston this year, correct?
Right. End of April in Boston. I hear the Cubs are also in town, so Chicago fans, you can go get the 2-for-1 deal. Go see a game at Fenway. Go across the street to House of Blues and see Umphrey's. If
Is
you
it
can
the
handle
Cubs
it.
year? Is it going to be the Cubs year?
No, it's not.
I'm an Orioles fan. I'm in Baltimore, and I was
the Orioles
so
are
heartbroken.
good.
We did so great and for nothing. We're out in the first round.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll get to see take my kids to go see Ohtani pitch here in LA. So at least I've got that. Is it going to be the Pirates here, Ryan? Ryan Stasik is a Pittsburgh Pirates fan.
Oh, nice. Oh, you know what? I'm still mad about 79 when you guys beat the Orioles.
Yeah.
I was there. I was there in the game the last game when we lost, and it's burned into my memory.
Yeah.
We are family. Whenever I hear "We're family," I'm like, turn that off. I do not.
You'll enjoy this. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but Rick Dempsey made it out to an Umphrey show once at Pier 6 Pavilion, and I told him a story that completely offended him, and I guarantee you he's never coming back to an Umphrey show ever again. So, yeah.
I met him when I was 6. I have a picture of him in my little league uniform with him.
I love that guy. The story was related to the time that he stood up. He was a catcher, and he stood up. Len Dykstra was hitting, and I have no idea what he said, but he stood up and laid him out and knocked him out in the batter's box.
And he didn't like. He was.
When he was being a little punk, the old man had to teach him respect, right, Ryan?
I wouldn't know, Joel.
Yeah. I appreciate you respecting your elders like you do, Ryan.
Still waiting for that lesson.
That's a Point Break reference, in case you didn't know that. Gary Busey says to Harp, "You know what you'd never learned, Harp?" Lays him out, respect for your elders. Yeah, got to be a Point Break fan for that one, but that's a classic.
It's been a minute, but I appreciate the reference. If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.